With regionals being only about 3 days away of the time of recording this, all of the top players recently have been actively scrimming on the PB realm. Therefore, for today, we're going to be jumping in game with Dishsoap in a very stacked lobby. We also have Ironbog, Wigwag, Greya, and Title, representing both the APAC and NA regions. We are going to be playing our game with no encounter with Thresh and Evelyn Gods. Starting out here with a Rod drop, which our units more lean into the Primordial reroll variant, but with the Rod, ideally we are playing it as some form of an AP, tempo AP, get some kind of a top 4. We have this Lissandra pair that we can be opting to hold on to. You can see the active decision right there to not hold on to this Leona. Without knowing Arbiter, it's going to be hard to tempo, and the line, unless you can fast 9, does not lead into many directions. Do get a sword now, so could potentially consider krilling this Rod with something like a Crown Guard in some state of a game, especially since we have this Rek'Sai too. But our components, the Salam-wise, BT is an item that does not really transition to many units this set. It's more of a... you can trust on Riven. Otherwise, Marauders don't like it. Gunblade is an item that scales together with many others, as in it synergizes. The more damage you deal, more you're going to be healing as an item, therefore it's understated. And Psionic Spark, it's a fine slam if you want, but generally all these AP lines tend to prefer avoid stuff. We have this Rek'Sai 2 together with the Cho'Gath and Lissandra pair. Have opted to hold also onto these Space Groove units. A line that you can still try to tempo into, carry the Nami even if you do not have the emblem. Therefore, let's see what our augment options are. Survivor is something you're not definitely going to be clicking in these higher reroll lobbies. If you click it, you're saying, okay, I have insane spot and I am just better than the rest of the lobby. I'm going to be cashing this out and then securing my win out from there. Silver Spoon, if you have a strong opener, is great for those tempo plays. The 10 XP might not be that much gold-wise, but raw gold augments on silver to 1 out of about 8 gold. And if you're able to string 3 together, it's great. Shield Maiden. Speaking of BT users, Shield Maiden is one of them. However, we do not have a spot for it. We do not know our Arbiter options even. We do not have any Vanguard units to be pairing this together with. And it definitely is an augment that you want to be tempoing together with. And then somehow maybe reaching a max cap. LeBlanc does not really cap that high, unfortunately, due to the nerfs she has received over the time. Patience of Virtue is a great reroll enabling augment despite the nerfs it has received. And the neat trick here is that it offers 4 rerolls right now. And if you are playing 1-cost reroll, you can use those on level 3 to get better odds on your units. And then just simply chill on there, ideally string together a win streak, and then reroll down once again when you're weakened up. Iron Assets, generic, augment. If we could look at to improve our item slams, this would be ideal if we had a slam in mind, and the direction obviously. And then we could just make 2 slams here in this 3-component encounter. That is great for tempo purposes in that way. Kickstart is an augment that you can also be playing for tempo. We're going to be scouting to see if we have a potential. We have Caretaker's Pike player there. We have some players with a stronger board, so we're going to be opting to go together with this Patience of the Virtue. We can see, as talked about, he's going to be rolling here, and also this is going to help us establish our direction of what we can be possibly playing. Do not see a Belveth, so probably going to be giving up onto this Primordial line. With our final roll, final Lissandra 2, going to be sitting here for that option, but still undecided. The items do not really dictate that much for ourselves. Going to be opting to give up on this Ezreal. See that there's some players playing around it already, and we would want to get this Ezreal stacking right away. Ezreal Cho is a comp that is capitalizing on the early tempo to scale up both Ezreal's attack damage and Cho'Gath's HP and go from there. Whereas we have this Rod, if we can get something like a Jeweled Gauntlet, maybe we can make a Spear of Shojin, which is going to be completely serviceable for this Lissandra. Only thing is, you have to be opting here into this reroll variant, as playing around Darksoul Asol, unfortunately, is not really that much of a thing. We had that patch where he was insane, now it's a little harder, and we are getting paid off, and we're going to opting to use our Patience to rolls again. Going to be giving up these rolls, do not want to be locking our shop here for the couple of Lissandras. That is a play that sometimes players opt to do. We see a great shop, we might just be locking in, leaconing up, and then buying. However, these level 4 shops are such high value that we are going to value buying it. It's a good thing to note and learn from here. Going up against Ironbog with that Electro... I believe it's Electro Charge. I don't recall the augment's name exactly. However, the frontline augment where they're dealing damage. This is great for tempo purposes. It's a generic decent augment to be considering something like a Laramus line, but ideally if you click combat on 2-1, either you full loss or full win streak, as you are lacking resources, as combat augments are designed to scale with the amount of units on your board. For our god selection now, to steamroll, no, this is only 2-star 2-cost champion, that's Remo. I do not think it's worth the 3 technicians life we have right now. We have clear direction, we are not exactly in the tempo plays, and 5 gold could be 5 gold. However, Thresh has a higher potential upside in my opinion. As long as it's offering 3 gold, it's going to be worthwhile. Also, it's going to be a more prime endgame position for ourselves in the sense that Thresh scaling is just considered the best god alignment at the moment if you are able to actually live a few rounds on stage 5. Therefore, a lot of players I can imagine in this lobby are going to be aligning together with the Thresh. It seems that we got ourselves a full 3-cost shop, and first one we buy is free. It's a tough choice because nothing really fits. Replicator, MF, Ilawi. The thing is, we also have to buy one, so this is again an anti-synergy together with our Patience of the Virtue, so we haven't been getting that much value out of it. The general idea of Patience of the Virtue before all the nerfs was to simply hoard onto your rerolls, go to like pick up a 3-cost reroll line, right, and then sack to 3-5 and just full send it there. Get the free rerolls, so that's going to allow you to bounce your recon back, make a board, and then fight from there. Or into even something like where there's very strong alignment in meta, you can be picking it up, sacking all the way to 4-1, and then going for the big massive roll down and go out for a win out there by picking the best line in the game. See, there's also a player with Expedition is something we have to watch out of. Probably might be playing into that ASOL mech line. However, generally a decent augment in a lot of lines that can utilize this Radiant item. Going to be going on a little bit of a mixed streak, as I believe we should be winning this fight. Very close, because this are going to cast. Yes, it's going to be casting, so we're on a little bit of a mixed streak. No streak goal coming in for ourselves. So, speaking econ-wise, by having picked econ on 2-1, we might be actually a little bit low on the value. However, any lives that we can preserve with these 1-cost reroll lines is generally quite decent of a spot. Now it's going to be come down to, are we going to be able to tempo there? We opted to go with the Stoneplate Cham on Shogut. Ideally, obviously, you have something like a Protector's Vow for him to be able to scale a little earlier on. However, Stoneplate is amazing since he might be the one of the last remaining units alive. You can see that he does not seem to have been happy with that 3-cost shop option. He's going to opting to roll again. Wanting to hold on to maybe this Ezreal, play around, this Milio, play around some kind of Dream Tiebreaker. We're doing some interesting choices because sometimes if you're just going to be rolling and buying a unit, you might be considering rolling deeper. But we're also going to be just stopping here at 40 gold. Jeweled Lotus is we already have the JG, so it's going to be a little redundancy. Since the nerfs, I do not think if you already have crit or precision as it's called now, you do not want to be clicking this augment. Seraphim Staff. When AP is good, this is a fine tempo option. Would give us a 3rd item on our Lissandra. We currently have Manage and Crit, so Throw AP is completely fine. It's better on the users that do not want that much mana up front. Since it's backloaded, it's great on something like the Victor, something like the Aurelian Soul. Booster Pack, just your generic econ option to be selecting. Might be defaulting that for now, I believe. Yeah, simply rolling. But we see a magic roll. This is more considered to be an item kind of augment. Great for that. Warlord's another decent combat augment, especially if you're able to get your board scaling already in this stage. You can roll up in stage 4 with 4 stacks, and you're going to be getting a lot of combat power through that. Exclusive customization, generic econ plus item. Great. Because it allows us to perhaps sort the frontline item for a Cho'Gath, but Magic Roll has a higher potential upside, and our spot is a little tricky, so it might be this time we gamble in TFT. We're going to be gambling, rolling the dice, hit a 16, and that gives us a Pan, and Red Buff Bruiser Emblem sounds very appealing in this kind of a spot. Would allow us to make 2 slams immediately, and opens up a possibility for ourselves. Obviously, with the Bruiser Emblem, you might be immediately thinking something like a Master Yi comp. But the Bruisers could give us more potential frontline. The thing about playing this Darkstar Lissandra Cho'Gath reroll is that, yes, if you want to be tempoing early on, because yes, you're going to be winning fights, you might pick up some fights in stage 4. The issue is, how do you make it to 6 Darkstar? The jump between having invested on level 5 and getting to level 9 to actually secure that gen and string together a good board. Yes, once you get there, it's extremely strong cap-wise. However, you are simply quite fragile, especially you might, since you rerolled, you might have to be sacking some of the stage 5, and it's tough to navigate, and especially the lobbies where players are going to be optimizing most of the resources, you're not going to be getting that many free rounds unless you can read the lobby to do so. Again, we opted to roll, but opting to still stand here at level 50 gold instead of digging deep for this one Lissandra. So we are kind of neglecting our patience as the virtue value. We more utilize it as the way to pick a direction onto one through our free reroll. So this is an interesting way Dishsoap has been approaching this augment so far. For our next selection, we are one copy away, so I'm not sure if we want to be locking our shop away. 12 gold is very appealing. This is great for your fast 8 boards. If you have a decent board, you realistically are not playing for a win streak where you might want to be hitting some crucial upgrade. Amazing gold influx. That's why it got nerfed from earlier in the set. Otherwise, for us, I believe Thresh is just simply going to be a nice alignment. We picked a... I did not see exactly the component we picked. It might have been a belt or a chain for Sunfire. Let's just see. We picked up another belt, and we have gotten a double belt from this. Okay. We're going to be rolling now, again opting, but we're quite far away from Cho'Gath, and this is the thing with kind of these kind of spots. You might just be opting to, level here, and just consider playing potentially around a different kind of a tank. We have quite a lot of Pantheon copies though. We have 6 copies of Pantheon, so I might just be opting to roll here on level 6. Strings the board together nicely for ourselves with 4 Bruiser, 4 Darkstar. 4 Darkstar is an amazing breakpoint to just funnel raw stats into your units. Therefore, yeah, if you are playing this reroll and you're just far from Cho'Gath, you might just be opting to push levels, play a different tank as a main tank, and figure it out from there. I've played this variant, for example, also with a Brawler emblem, where we were able to get to the, like, a 4 Brawler frontline together with a Tom Kenshin and just having this Pantheon around. That is a possibility you could be playing around as well. But since we are here on 6 copies, we have this reroll incentivizing augment. We might be opting to just stay here. Now I have option for Mordekaiser too, and now just going to be rolling again once more, picking up the upgrade, but he's never digging too deep with this augment. He's just saying, okay, the free reroll comes, it comes. Still being very aggressive. So this, because we can see we lost 3 rounds in this stage at the earlier stages, so we are in a little bit of a tempo pickle right here of trying to rebound back here, because we know that 4-2 rolldowns coming in. So now we're going to be possibly sending it, finding out the upgrade. Are we going to be picking up a Meepsy and a Lawi? This is general transition you're going to be playing until you make it to the Jhin. You are playing around a Meepsy Lawi combo right there, and simply have the Vanguard and the Shepherd board for yourself so you can stabilize this front line for your Lissandra. Into a Rammus 2 with a Declaw. Quite unfortunate, and the Declaw is a less prominent slam in the meta because not that much AP going around, and the new patch is looking to shape up quite similar to the current one in terms of lines being AP is just on a little bit of a downhill. For our last augment selection, artifacts are generally great for this. Something like a Dawncore 4-year-old Lissandra is amazing. There are quite few, just any tank artifacts can utilize on Cho'Gath. Talisman of Ascension being the meme one. If you're able to get there, it's actually can be quite strong. However, on 4-2, this is always going to be a gamble. Tons of stats. We are getting raw stats from our trait already, so I'm not exactly sure if you're going to be wanting to go for this. Indiscriminate Killer, just to get more items on our board, could be quite nice. Lissandra also has the possibility of splashing the backlines whenever she's attacking a frontline target, so possibly this is something we might be leaning into unless we are again in the gambling mood. Not going to be gambling mood. Glass Cannon's quite neat. We do not have damage jump for ourselves right now. Well, red buff, but not that much. This is quite decent whenever you're running for backline carries. Little buddies. I've seen this clicked once by Broseph in a video I made before. Otherwise, I'm not exactly too hot on this augment. It was good, but when it's good, it's overpowered. When it's not clickable, when you are capping around these higher trait units, it's quite weird. And we are not playing Fast 9, so the fast I do end board, so it's going to be appealing for ourselves. So we're making a decision here between Indiscriminate Killer or Glass Cannon. Are we going to evaluating having more items right now? We have 3-item tank, we have a 3-item backliner, but he's going to be wanting to go for it. Would give us an just improve our item quality here on Lissandra. We do not need that much attack speed on her. We have mana gen, and just Kaisa can hold on to this red buff for now. Again, opting to just simply slow roll here on level 50, despite having this patience to the Virtue. He's like, all right, if I hit something, I can maybe consider rolling to 40, or even just picking it up. Otherwise, we're getting a free roll. But you can see he's already picking up a unit from the first shop. So obviously the Riven is going to fit quite nicely once we make it to level 7. We pick up a Kaisa too, but we definitely want to be completing one of our tanks right now as we are so close to the Shogat as well. He got that Protector's Vow, so he should be quite fine in regarding his stack despite it being stuck on 2-star for quite long. But now this is very going to get nuked into this Mammoth reroll, but also who went for Belveth 3. Yeah, something you might be considering picking up. Belveth, as I've always been saying, fits that level 7 board better than Diana, and has a little bit neater item transition, but you have to be wary of how you're going to kill your AP items then. For our last god selection, we have arranged ourselves already with Thresh. Blood Pact is where you are able to sacrifice these lives. We are playing a comp that can get severely punished if many players pick this. Otherwise, it's quite appealing to just get more raw gold influx. We still want to be rolling, we still want to be leveling. Or we could just opt to gamble. He's going to opt to gamble. 5 gold, 5 gold. Not going to be wanting to risk sacrificing our lives here as we are down in about 3 lives right now. And what we're gonna get? We're gonna get tiny duplicators. This is a curveball in some sense. Would allow us to complete this. We're going to opt to push level, get the rogue in, sort out our Ionic Spark right here. We're not going to be utilizing this Blitzcrank, but we do not have much use for these tiny duplicators right now. I think he already rolled before he picked it up, so we do not need to be rolling for Cho'Gath. We're going to opt to level 7, and we have picked up 5 Kaisas. We have this duplicator. Are we going to be considering a Kaisa duo carry since we are just so far away? This is the thing with this comp. We are so far away on being able to push levels. If we just sit here, sack with this board, we're making to level 9 at maybe 6-3. That is quite low, and given how hot Jin is, because I've capped in quite a few of these boards, this might just be all Jin's out. Into the Pike board, nicely able to stun the Pike Salt, and he jumps out the front line there, so this is amazing for ourselves. Works out the Pike is not able to do the damage for ourselves, and the front line is able to stall long enough, so we are able to go for a pick up an easy win right there. Also opted to put the Lissandra here in the middle as we saw the player right there. Have a TG option here, not going to be going, but I do not going to value the TG here that much on the ribbon. Ideally we're looking for some form of a damage item for our Kaisa, but we're going to be settling here with the Spirit Visage. Spirit Visage quite nice again for this Cho'Gath, but are we going to really move it away? I'm not too sure. Going to be going for deeper roll down. Now this is the time we need to hit. We want to be sorting some of ourselves out. Yeah, going to be going just 4 raw HP onto this Cho'Gath. Give him the potential to actually be a duo carry with these items. Now we are also on 8 and 8 copies. Have picked up 1 Karma that can easily slit in, so we do not have to be rolling for some kind of a unit on level 8, even though a Rask would fit in quite nicely. Find that Pantheon finally, able to get this Kaisa online. And now our board is looking quite neat together. This is another variant that I have not yet seen, but I want to see how it works out. Getting this, going to be going with... Still going to be opting to full main tank this Cho'Gath with the damage items, but keep the Spark here because it's going to be the longest one alive. And just have Pantheon have some form of frontline presence right there. Interesting choice made regarding this itemization. And we get on this Corki right now, but unfortunately a little too late. He has that Rogue able to drop the aggro, so it's Rogue versus Rogue, but this Kaisa is able to finish quite nicely. Also the little synergy there with the extra attack speed and the Bruiser emblem just makes her, cycle through her cast a little faster. Red buff always could be utilized as attack speed in general is a pseudo mana items, as you know that's Kaisa likes to have the Spear of Shojin. Against the Master Yi here, nicely able to have the Pantheon walk up, but if he gets it through, he's going to be getting it right for our backline. The Rogue proc is going to be coming in, so he's going to be killing our Lissandra, and yeah, we just get Master Yi by the wrap. They too much for ourselves to deal with this catch with this split kind of damage, but still the positioning here is quite interesting. He's wanting for these frontline units to draw maximum aggro as they are a lot more durable and actually have the potential to hold the line down. Just making sure to prevent any kind of wraps here with these 2 units right there. Seeing if you're going to try to position swap again. Yeah, we have again this another Master Yi and Pike board. This does... I want to re-watch how this walked again. We get it Rogue here on the backline, but this is the key. The positioning key is what allowed us to win this, well, I would say win, but almost win this matchup. But nonetheless, we did our best. Just quickly checking here, we have, again, they're going for this open positioning, playing around the Leona 3, so this is also an interesting variant here for Psionic Vanguards with the Morgana. But you generally... if you are if you are just full frontline stack, this can allow the pike to have a full positioning here. But now when he's going to be walking up, I imagine he's walking around here and gets stuck by these 2 units right there. So that's an interesting thing to note of how you can maybe prevent some of these pikes. I know quite few have had frustrations. Then he does make it to the backline with an extra cast he doesn't have, but B, that's why we placed the Kai'Sa with the rogue reset right there, and able to stall the fight long enough. But unfortunately we did lose the round, so now we're down on our last life. And yeah, if we make it to level 8, I'm not exactly sure. It's just, I guess it's a karma, and as I alluded, Rast could be a fine slot in as well, since we have these bruisers just getting more resistances on them could be quite nice, and 5 traits is completely serviceable. Against the semi-free roll, we seem to have it durable enough of a frontline, and this Kai'Sa 3 is putting in a lot of burst damage. This is quite strong setup that we have managed to string together and secure ourselves a top 4 against one of the more noticeable lines in the meta, known for its tempo potential. But let's see, are we able to climb any higher from here? Still going for these weird positioning things. Dishsoap is known for being one of these players who is able to always analyze his looking at what the units are doing and figure out the potential positioning from there. Going to be pushing our level here and now just rolling for find a Tomkench, but instead are going to be we can slot in this pike here. And then place the Mordekaiser with to get the shield and approve our damage items onto the Kai'Sa. Get the shield and damage amp from our Voyagers right there. Put in quite nicely, able to do the last second swap to swap our tank units in front of the sea. This is going to be enough. It's quite needed that it is enough, because the Lissandra is capable of sometimes proccing the Master Yi's Edge of Night, right? And in that form of a way, she can't. You're just making him more susceptible to any kind of burst. Opting to not utilize this psionic item, going to instead be going with the Tomkench and just slot in the Mighty Mech 2 here for more frontline potential. Again, now this positioning didn't exactly work out, and the Pike was able to clear our backline. But the Cho'Gath has made it to the backline of his own, and we got the Pike down just in nick of a time, and the Cho'Gath should be able to clear up, as we have eliminated that sufficient damage to their carries and able to eliminate them. Still holding on to this Mordekaiser in hopes of maybe we can make it to level 9, but going to be utilizing our free rolls here. Find the Tomkench 2, find the Riven 2. Maybe we're going... I mean, we probably just... Yeah, we have given up on the plan of going into an We're in the 1v1 against Ironbog. The game is not going to be lasting long enough. Against this Challenger reroll also been for Akali 3, so this is an interesting variation that he has been playing here as well. But seems that he just simply does not have enough damage. The Cho'Gath has been stacking long enough. The Pantheon there is also, we could be still 2 items, so we're ideally looking for the last item. I would assume Steadfast is going to do quite nicely. He's managed damage based comp. He has the... This is definitely a strong setup for him. Just the Cho'Gath with the 4 brawlers here has been managing to be quite strong. There's not going to be many swaps in the positioning. And simply just getting through this Pantheon, he seems to be quite of a beast. And this Kai'Sa is able to just get the resets going by killing off the weaker units. And we are able to get through the Ironbog's defenses. Going to need to do it one last time. Is he going to be trying to switch up the positioning in any form or way? We do not have free item slots, so we're going to be just utilizing it there. But yeah, the Lissandra tossing an assist for this Kai'Sa to just get resets, get into this permacasting mode from these weaker units. So, and I guess the issue here on Ironbog's side is that he does not have a 3-star tank. He has the damage, but not the tank, so he's not able to stall long enough. The Pantheon is putting in God's work with 3 chain items, just able to stall, just outstall him completely, as we saw the last fight when they are in the same way. Just the Kai'Sa ult comes in, gets a reset, then retargets onto this Belvet who does no aggro drops, and we are done for Akali, seemingly just a little bit like a fraud still right there. All things considered, very beautifully played game by Dishsoap. Did not exactly play the classic style of the Patience of the Virtue that you would be expecting, utilizing it instead to use the free rerolls and pick up a direction for ourselves, and then not being too aggressive, still trying to manage our econ the best that we can, trying to play around some of these spike timings, but not really fully investing into it. And obviously the magic roll came in, offered us the potential to be approaching this line a little bit differently, since we're so away for Cho'Gaths. We can go for this Pantheon 3 and string together a nice 4 brawler, 4 Darkstar board right here. Utilizing it fully, getting this Cho'Gath stacked up, and then also chasing that Kai'Sa 3 from the extra duplicator that we got. Getting a nice duo carry setup right there. Very beautifully played. maybe the lobby a little bit on the lower cap side, but that is purely due to these reroll players putting on the extra early game pressure. We could see that early game pressure was quite strong. We had a good board, but nonetheless we were losing fights even with all the items, extra items we had, and then capping it out quite nicely, indexing on the items on the Kais and then only sorting out our front line. I would like to thank you for watching. I hope that you learned something new, and I wish to see you in the next one. Have a good one.